Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you for today. Thank you for the fact that we get to come here to this retreat, God, and grow closer to you. I want to thank you for all the students here, God, all the students that are up here on stage, and all the students that are out there in the audience. I especially want to thank you for the students here on stage and everything that they've done, the way that you've blessed them mathematically, God. Thank you for everything you've done for us. I also want to thank you for Dr. Lindsay and Coach Gann and Mrs. Clark, who make this possible, God, and everything that they've done for us. In your Son's holy and precious name, I pray. Amen.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
For those who do not know me, my name is Mrs. Eunice Clark, and I teach math. And today you might wonder why we're all here, why some of these kids why they're dressed up, because we're celebrating their achievements in math. For those who are members of the National Honor Society, this is also the same kind of organization, but more particularly in math. So before I call the chapter's president, Brian Williams, let me just read a quote from a mathematician's lament. The first thing to understand is that mathematics is an art. The difference between math and the other arts, such as music and painting, is that our culture does not recognize it as such. Everyone understands that poets, painters, and musicians create works of art and are expressing themselves in word, image, and sound. In fact, our society is rather generous when it comes to creative expressions. Architects, chefs, and even television directors are considered to be working artists. So why not mathematicians? Part of the problem is that nobody has the faintest idea what it is that mathematicians do. The common perception seems to be that mathematicians are somehow connected with science. Perhaps they help the scientists with their formulas or feed big numbers into computers for some other reason or another. There is no question that if the world had to be divided into the poetic dreamers and the rational thinkers, most people would place mathematicians in the latter category. But according to Dr. Lindsay, she considers mathematicians poetic thinkers. Nevertheless, the fact that that is there is nothing as dreamy and poetic, nothing as radical, subversive, psychedelic as mathematics. It is every bit as mind-blowing as cosmology or physics. Mathematicians conceived of black holes long before astronomers actually found any, and allows more freedom of expression than poetry, art, or music, which depend heavily on properties of the physical universe. Mathematics is the purest of the arts as well as the most misunderstood. So as a group, at the end of the year, our goal is for you to not dislike math, but hopefully at the end of the year, we would encourage you to like math a little bit. I'd like to call our chapter president, Brian Williams, to start us off.
Hello.
Oh dear.
Blue Alpha Theta is the National High School and two-year college Mathematics Honor Society dedicated to inspiring keen interest in mathematics, developing strong scholarship and acceptance, and promoting enjoyment of mathematics in high school and two-year college students. The Blue Alpha Theta National High School was founded in 1957 by Dr. and Mrs. Richard V. Andrew at the University of Oklahoma. In his words, Blue Alpha Theta is an organization dedicated to promoting scholarship in mathematics and establishing math. Blue Alpha Theta was constructed from the Greek lettering for the phonemes, phenome, M, A, and TH. The Math Honor Society is a service organization that believes the leaders of the school are obligated to use their strengths to serve the school community. Today's inductees exemplify what the school and community look for in our students. These students have been chosen for their excellence in math. Hopefully, the Math Honor Society's influence will encourage the entire student body to work harder to improve our school and community. We will now commence the candle lighting ceremony using the acronym for math. First, Enoch Colbert to talk about the letter M.
M stands for mathematic integrity. The capacity to do work with diligence and inquiry. Next is Emily Duncan to talk about A.
Audacity. A stands for audace. The desire to ask questions, probe assumptions, and test our understanding. Next is Caroline Nice to talk with the letter T.
T stands for tenacity, the continuous will to work on problems of interest with a desire to improve our world. Next will be Will Gibson to talk about the letter H.
H stands for honesty, to be our best, to do our best, and to forever commit to the highest level of integrity.
Officers of the Math Honor Society have described to you the qualities of having mathematical integrity, audacity, tenacity, and honesty. Math. The following inductees have exhibited these qualities as well as excelling academically with a GPA of 3.5 or above in math. By accepting the honor of membership in our society, each person pledges to continue to uphold these standards. As your name is read, please sign our membership log, obtain your certificate from Mr. Gann, and your membership pin from Dr. Lindsay. Senior cords will be given during the high school awards ceremony in May. Congratulations to the following students. Kaylee Brooks, Ina Comer, Emily Duncan, Ryan Flanagan, Will Gibson, Rachel Lugo, Caroline Nice, Jason O, Rachel Swinton, The challenge of membership in this organization, you should just say, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Congratulations and welcome to the Williamsburg Christian Academy chapter of the Mathematics Honor Society.
We're going to take a minute or two, and you guys can go back to your seats. And could you all help me with this table and move it? How you guys doing? Good? Doing good? Having a good time so far? Are you having a good time so far? Yeah? I just wanted to talk to you a little bit today. I'm just going to give a brief message. I'm not going to keep you sitting here too long because I know you want to get out, and I know SCA has some things planned for you. Some different games and class competitions, and our class president, SCA President Alexis Reyes is going to come up after I'm talking, and she is going to kind of let you know what's going to happen next. So as we move forward, I just wanted to share a little bit of a message with you, and we're talking about the how, right? We heard about the retreat, and the message during our time together was going to be about how we live life and not what we do in life. So as I talk for the next 10 or 15 minutes, I just want you to focus on that. Focus on your approach to life, meaning how we interact with people, how we live, and not so much what we do. But what we just had with Math Honor Society was awesome. My math career was definitely not one to be inducted into the Honor Society. I got through math. So when we talk about that, it's about your path in life. It's about the approach to your life. The how is kind of the path that you're picking and where you end up at the end of it. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. I remember being in the same position you guys were, being in high school and having a good time, having great friends, and being close to my family, and I was brought up in a great home. But the one thing that, if I could change, the one thing that I did when I was your age in high school, it would have been my approach to life. Because my approach to life when I was in high school was very narrow, and it was totally focused on me. Everything that was going on was totally wrapped around what was important to me or what can I get out of it, and the word I was like heavily used in my life. And I tried to control my life when I was in high school instead of being more connected with God. And I mean, I had good things going on. I was a pretty good student. I was a pretty good athlete. I was decent enough looking to attract some females towards me. So I had some things going on. But the thing that I was driven by was the what. I was driven by sports, and I was driven by getting to college and playing sports and getting a scholarship, but that was the only thing that was driving me. My approach to life was so narrow and so focused on just that I didn't connect with God, and I didn't trust in Him, and I didn't let Him connect with me. So as I've grown in my relationship with Him, I think the how has become more clear to me, meaning how we approach each other, how we approach life, how you approach the next day that you have, how you approach the next minute you have. And I still fall short, but the thing that God has helped me with is He's put people in my life, adults, and even some of you guys and coaches that I've worked with and played for and things like that have really helped me to grow closer to Him. So when we talk about approach, what I want to talk about is that I know it's hard, right? It's not easy. It's hard for us to kind of die to ourselves because we're so driven, and that's an okay thing, but it's hard for us to let go and to let Him come in and be at the front of our life. So I know that. I was your age. I know how it is. We all want to hold on to everything. We think it's safer for us to control our lives instead of letting go and letting God where we really believe what we really believe, and that we lean on Him and we don't lean on ourselves. We think it's easier to make decisions based on what we're going to do instead of letting go. So when we talk about how we approach to life, how we make an approach to life, I think if we're real with ourselves, we just have a tendency to do the things that makes us happy, and we have a tendency to be selfish sometimes, which is just a human flaw. So sometimes we forget that how you treat people with humility and kindness and compassion, and how we love one another is going to influence them towards Christ, and it's going to open some doors up for them that they don't even know that they have. So what does God say about the how? I'm just going to share real briefly out of Colossians 3, chapter 3, verses 12 through 14. And he makes it, as he always does, he makes it crystal clear on what we are supposed to wear. That's the thing that gets me. What are we supposed to wear as Christ followers? What kind of clothes are we supposed to put on every day when we are Christ followers interacting with each other? In Colossians 3, 12 through 14, it says, "Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, with kindness, with humility, with gentleness and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you have a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all of these, put on love, which binds them together in perfect unity." So it was a little bit like we were talking about in chapel yesterday, just that whole thing with relationships and what makes those go, and love binds them all together in unity. So today I want to talk about just 3 of those characters: compassion, kindness, and humility. And then tomorrow when we talk, I'm going to talk about gentleness, patience, forgiveness, and then love. So what I want to talk about first is compassion. What do you think about when you think about compassion? Anybody? When you think about the word compassion, what comes to mind? It can be anything. Nobody wants to say anything. We all know each other. Go ahead. What'd you say?
My mother.
Mother, that's great. You have compassion for your mom. That's a great answer. Anything else? Understanding somebody, and you have a compassion for maybe that situation that they're in. Okay, when I think about the word compassion, I think about like it comes down deep from your gut and inside of you. Okay, it's not something that is just average and mundane and, oh yeah, I got a lot of compassion. No, it's having compassion means that it's deep down inside of you. And most importantly, what is deep down inside of you is how you care about other people. And that's it, just that simple statement. How you care about other people. Not how I care about myself, but how you care about other people and what they are going through. Every day we walk around, there's always things that we're carrying. There's always hard stuff. That's just part of life. And having compassion for somebody is putting yourself in their shoes and caring about them and maybe helping them out if they need it or giving them an encouraging word. So when you think of the word compassion, think about it's deep down inside of you and it's for other people. It's deep down inside of you and it's for other people. So, and then the other thing we want to talk about is kindness. What do you think about when you think about kindness? That can be easy. Opening the door for somebody. Wow, that's a thing that's gone out of our culture. Right? Men, young men, opening the door for a young lady. Woo, you get bonus points when you do that. You don't even realize that. Especially you 9th graders. You guys just aren't quite there yet with those little things. 9th grade boys, you guys are interesting. I was saying, this is going to sound derogatory, but me and Dr. Lindsay were talking yesterday, and I said, he's just 9 cents short of a dime. And no offense, 9th graders, but sometimes you guys are just 9 cents short of a dime. Kindness. Okay, kindness. How do you do that? Opening the door for somebody. Extending yourself. I just wasn't very kind to 9th grade boys, but they'll be okay. Extending yourself to somebody is kindness. Focus on that word extend. You're extending yourself. You're giving yourself up. Okay, you might be helping them with something. You might be just simply, like I said, opening the door. You might be saying, have a great day. Okay, instead of all the other things that we tend to do. So extend yourself to somebody. And the biggest sign of kindness is when you give your strengths away. Okay, whatever your strength is, you give it to somebody else to help them out. And you guys have so many strengths, and you know what they are. But the best act of kindness is when you give your strengths away. And we talked about rejoicing and joy a few weeks ago. Kindness just multiplies joy. If you give yourself away, if you extend your strengths to others, the word joy just comes over the room. And the cool thing about our school is that we kind of have that a lot of times. We have a neat environment that there usually is a lot of joy and there's a lot of extending of kindness. But if, as followers of Christ, if we would do that so much better than we already do, it would be amazing that the people you would influence and impact. So kindness, compassion, kindness. So this is what we're supposed to wear as followers of Christ. The last one I'm going to talk about today, and we'll pick it back up tomorrow, is humility. Okay, the word humility gets thrown around like a lot, right? You guys hear that a lot. Be humble. You need to have humility. I think the easiest thing to say for humility is seeing ourselves accurately in relation to God. Okay, so if we see ourselves accurately in relation to God, then we're automatically going to be humble in everything we do because God is perfect. Okay, God is the loving God who has no faults and knows everything. So if we can keep that in check and we can keep seeing ourselves accurately and not getting too full of ourselves, then we'll always hold ourselves in relation to who God is. I think humility will just be a natural thing. No one is more important than anyone else. That's another thing that I like to fall back on. Nobody in this room is more important than anyone else, adults included. Okay, we're all on an equal playing ground as far as how God views us. He loves me just as much as He loves anybody else. He loves everybody the same. No matter what you did last night, no matter what you did 3 years ago, He loves you as much as anybody else. So nobody is more important than anyone else, and we're all in that same crowd of being special to Him. Okay, so I'm going to close here quickly, but what I want you to take away is to line it up a little bit with what we talked about in chapel on Wednesday. Does anybody remember the question that I want you to ask one person in your life? Well, anybody know that question? Right, Rachel, thank you. So what is it like to be on the other side of me? So I challenged you to, has anybody asked that question to anybody? You have? Claire has? All right, good. So we've got one. Stephen, are you lying or are you being serious? You asked Jason? Chase, okay. All right, so the best thing would be if you could ask maybe your mom or your dad or somebody even, not that Chase isn't important to you, Stephen, but maybe somebody a little bit closer to you in your family. So I still have that challenge out there. I want you to ask one, okay, track with me here, 9th grade boys. Tracking, happy, tracking. They're still. Luke's still talking. He's still talking. He doesn't even hear it. All right. So I challenge you to ask that question. Listen, have the courage to ask the question. Have the humility to ask the question. What does it look to be? What is it like to look on the other side of me? What is that like? And I want you to remember to receive that information. Don't get upset. Don't apologize. And then receive it and go pray about it with the Lord. And remember those words, compassion, kindness, and humility is part of what we're supposed to be clothed in. Okay, so by next Wednesday, I want everybody to ask that question to somebody, and it'll be interesting to see what your feedback is. All right?